The decade of the 70s marked the birth of petroleum exploration and development in Palawan. The focus was the northern Palawan Basin. The first commercial oil discovery was the Nido oil field in offshore northern Palawan in 1976. Production was comparatively small. In the late 1980s, the West Linapacan oil field west of Colon Island was discovered. In June 1992, just before President Cory Aquino ended her presidency, she presided over the ceremonial gate valve opening in Malacañang for the West Linapacan oil field, which initially produced 17,000 barrels per day. In the early 1990s, the Malampaya gas and oil fields were discovered west of El Nido, with an estimated recoverable reserve of 3.2 trillion cubic feet of natural gas and approximately 100 billion barrels of oil. In 2002, the Malampaya natural gas production began, and until the present, it is providing 3,000 megawatts of clean energy for the Luzon grid. At present, service contracts for oil and natural gas exploration and development had been issued by the Department of Energy for the waters all around Palawan. In 1993, Congressman Dave Ponce de Leon of the 1st District of Palawan delivered a speech in the House of Representatives, calling for the national government to consider Palawan not only as an inert depository of offshore hydrocarbon wealth, but as its full partner in their development, which can be done through the establishment of hydration or liquefaction plants and power stations in the province for the natural gas and refineries for the oil, along with a supply basis for transport, engineering, storage, and other requirements for offshore activities. He also called for the putting up of training facilities in Palawan for future employment in the developing upstream oil industry. Of these, only transport and storage facilities had been established in El Nido, Coron, and Colon. Oil refineries and liquefaction plants were deemed not feasible in Palawan. The 1987 Constitution mandated the first ever national government-local government direct sharing of natural wealth development within the LGU's territorial jurisdiction. The implementing law for this constitutional mandate was the Local Government Code, which provided for a sharing system of 60% for the national government and 40% for the LGUs. In 1989, through a bill filed jointly by Speaker Ramon V. Mitra Jr. and Congressman Ponce de Leon, they called for a 10% share for Palawan from the Nido production. Palawan received its first ever oil share in a lump sum amount of 50 million pesos, which was used for the construction of the provincial capital. In 1993, through a resolution filed jointly in Congress by Congressman Ponce de Leon and Congressman Alfredo E. Abueg Jr., fully supported by Speaker Jose de Venecia, Congressman Johnny Ponce Enrile, and Ezequiel Javier, Palawan received its initial share of 43 million from the West Linapacan, which was followed by annual shares in declining amounts until 1997, when West Linapacan stopped production due to water seepage. From Malampaya, Palawan received 2.7 billion in 2005 through the efforts mainly of Governor Joel T. Reyes and the Sangguniang Panlalawigan of Palawan under Vice Governor Dave Ponce de Leon, which were utilized for various projects in the province and in Puerto Princesa City, including, among others, the concreting of the Puerto Princesa South Road and the completion of the Puerto Princesa El Nido North Road. The 2.7 billion was divided as follows. To fully enforce Palawan's legal share under the Local Government Code, Governor Reyes and Vice Governor Ponce de Leon filed in 2002 our claim before the Regional Trial Court of Palawan, where we won that case. The national government appealed to the Supreme Court, where the case is pending for many years now. Arrayed against the Solicitor General's office was Palawan's legal team headed by Vice Governor Ponce de Leon and Palaweño lawyers Ellen Rodriguez, Lizelle Sabanal, Enrique Magbanwa, and Noel Aquino. As we come to know of how the Petroleum Engineering Institute was established, we must also be aware of how the Palawan State University came to be. In 1994, the Palawan State College became the Palawan State University by virtue of Republic Act 7818, authored by Congressman Alfredo E. Abueg Jr. and Dave Ponce de Leon, and signed into law by President Fidel V. Ramos in November of that year. The legal basis for the establishment of the Petroleum Institute is Republic Act 7818, which authorized PSU to offer degree programs in petroleum engineering. The lack of qualified Filipino petroleum engineers and technicians was a disturbing thought. Petroleum development was within Palawan waters, but hardly was there any Filipino, let alone a Palaweño, in the highly technical exploration and production sectors, whose high-paying jobs were reserved for foreign engineers. If at all, Filipinos, particularly Palaweños, were held for low-paying jobs. To address this need for qualified Filipino petroleum engineers and technicians, Congressman Ponce de Leon initiated the establishment of PSU's Petroleum Institute, with the full support of Congressman Amor Abueg, PSU President Dr. Crispiniano Acosta Sr., Speaker Jose de Venecia, and Peter Enstrom, President of the Philippine Energy Services. Considered ideal for PSU was a degree franchising program under an academic and technical partnership and exchange program with the Robert Gordon Institute of Petroleum Engineering in Aberdeen, Scotland, one of the best petroleum schools in the world. The similarity in the geologic marine setup in the North Sea hydrocarbon fields in Scotland with that of the Northern Palawan Basin was considered. On January 20, 1995, the Institute was formally established with the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding and Cooperation between the PSU and the Robert Gordon University in ceremonies held at the PSU Performing Arts Center. Signing for the PSU was President Acosta, while for the Gordon University was Vice Chancellor David Kennedy. Over the years, the Institute of Petroleum Engineering became a flagship program of the university under the College of Engineering, Architecture and Technology. Dr. Teresita L. Salva, who took over Dr. Acosta, strongly supported the institute all throughout her incumbency. Graduates of the institute were employed in significant positions in the oil industry both here and abroad. Students from all over the country, even from other countries, have studied in the institute. In 2008, PSU signed a Memorandum of Agreement with ALLTERE, an international academic coordinator, for the admission of foreign students from Asian and Middle East countries, thereby establishing the Institute's global network. Subsequently, its Bachelor of Science in Petroleum Engineering program was made part of the expanded Tertiary Education Equivalency and Accreditation Program by the Commission on Higher Education. Today, the Institute is on its way to becoming a prime center for educational and technical training and studies in petroleum exploration, development, and production.